I'm sure you've heard the news. The air stings. It smells like smoke. Acrid, suffocating. Wildfires rage across continents, devouring forests and homes. Cities choke on pollution. Glaciers melt at an alarming rate. This is our world on fire. Hurricanes, once rare, now roar with terrifying frequency. Floods submerge entire villages. Droughts parch the land, leaving behind a barren wasteland. Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is here now. It is real. It is terrifying. The Earth's climate is changing. It's warming up faster than ever before in human history. The cause? Us. Our reliance on fossil fuels has released an invisible blanket of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These gases trap heat like a greenhouse, causing the planet to warm. The science is clear. The evidence is overwhelming. The Earth's temperature is rising, and human activity is the primary driver. We are witnessing the consequences of our actions, and they are dire. Climate change is not just about melting glaciers and rising sea levels. It is about people. It is about the lives that are being disrupted and the futures that are being threatened. When we talk about climate change, we often focus on the environmental impact, but the human cost is just as significant. It is about the communities that are being torn apart and the individuals who are facing unprecedented challenges. It is about the farmer watching his crops wither and die under the relentless sun. This farmer, who has spent his entire life nurturing the land, now faces the harsh reality of a changing climate. His livelihood, his way of life, and his family's future are all at risk. The soil that once provided sustenance now cracks under the heat, and the crops that once flourished now wither away. This is not just a story of a single farmer. It is a story of countless farmers around the world who are grappling with the same challenges. It is about the family forced to flee their home, swallowed by the rising tide. Imagine the heartbreak of leaving behind everything you have ever known, the place where you built your life and the memories that you cherish. This family, like many others, is now displaced, searching for safety and stability in an uncertain world. The rising waters do not just take away homes, they take away a sense of security and belonging. This is a reality for millions of people who are now climate refugees, seeking refuge from the relentless forces of nature. It is about the children struggling to breathe in the smog-filled air. These children, who should be playing and learning, are instead battling respiratory issues caused by pollution. Their lungs are filled with toxins, and their futures are clouded by the very air they breathe. The smog that envelops their cities is a constant reminder of the environmental degradation that is taking place. These children are the most vulnerable, and their health and well-being are being compromised by the actions of previous generations. Climate change is a human rights issue. It is about the right to clean air, safe water, and a stable climate. It is about the right to live in a world where the environment supports human life rather than threatens it. The activists and protesters who take to the streets are not just fighting for the planet, they are fighting for the fundamental rights of every human being. They are demanding action, justice, and accountability from those in power. Their voices are a powerful reminder that climate change is not just an environmental issue, it is a matter of human rights and social justice. It is about justice, equity, and the future of humanity. Climate change disproportionately affects the most vulnerable and marginalized communities. It is about ensuring that everyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, has the opportunity to thrive in a safe and healthy environment. It is about addressing the inequalities that are exacerbated by climate change and working towards a more just and equitable world. The fight for climate justice is a fight for the future of humanity, and it requires the collective effort of people from all walks of life. It is about the fundamental right to a safe and healthy planet. It is about the innovative solutions and the collective actions that are being taken to combat climate change. From clean energy initiatives to reforestation projects, people around the world are coming together to protect and restore our planet. These efforts are a testament to the resilience and determination of humanity. They show that despite the challenges we face, there is hope and there is a path forward. It is about creating a sustainable future for ourselves and for generations to come. Climate change affects everyone, but not equally. The poorest and most vulnerable communities bear the brunt of its impacts. They are the least responsible for the crisis, yet they suffer the most. Small island nations face an existential threat from rising sea levels. Indigenous communities see their traditional way of life disappear. Climate change exacerbates existing inequalities, pushing millions further into poverty and displacement. Fossil fuels, the engines of destruction. The burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil and gas, is the primary driver of climate change. These fuels power our cars, our homes and our industries, but they come at a steep cost. Every ton of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere contributes to the warming of our planet. We are hooked on fossil fuels, but our addiction is killing us and our planet. The price of inaction too high to pay. The impacts of climate change are no longer a distant threat. They are here now, affecting millions of lives around the globe. From the melting ice caps to the raging wildfires, the evidence is undeniable. We are witnessing the consequences of our choices, and the cost is staggering. The longer we wait to act on climate change, the more devastating the consequences will be. Glaciers that have stood for millennia are disappearing before our eyes, and vast forests, the lungs of our planet, are being decimated. Urban areas are choking on pollution, and the air we breathe is becoming increasingly toxic. Every moment of inaction compounds the problem, making it harder to reverse the damage. Extreme weather events will become more frequent and intense. Hurricanes will batter our coastlines with unprecedented ferocity. Wildfires will consume our forests and homes, and floods will inundate our cities and towns. These events are not isolated incidents. They are part of a pattern that is becoming all too familiar. The science is clear. Climate change is making these disasters more severe and more common. Sea levels will continue to rise, displacing millions. Coastal communities around the world are already feeling the effects, with homes and livelihoods being washed away. As the oceans encroach further inland, the number of climate refugees will soar, creating humanitarian crises on an unprecedented scale. The loss of land and the displacement of people will have far-reaching social and economic impacts. Food and water shortages will become more common, leading to conflict and instability. As temperatures rise and weather patterns shift, agricultural yields will decline and water sources will dry up. Communities will struggle to access the basic resources they need to survive, and competition for these scarce resources will lead to tensions and conflicts. The stability of entire regions will be threatened, and the most vulnerable will suffer the most. The economic costs of inaction are staggering. The damage to infrastructure from extreme weather events, the loss of productivity due to heat waves, and the costs of adapting to a changing climate will strain economies to the breaking point. Businesses will close, jobs will be lost, and the financial burden will fall disproportionately on those least able to bear it. The longer we delay, the higher the price we will pay. The human toll is immeasurable. Heat waves will claim lives, and the health impacts of pollution will become more severe. People will be forced to flee their homes, becoming climate refugees in search of safety and stability. Medical personnel will be stretched to their limits, responding to the increasing frequency and severity of climate-related health crises. The emotional and psychological toll on individuals and communities will be profound. We are at a crossroads. The decisions we make today will determine the future of our planet and the legacy we leave for future generations. We can continue down the path of inaction, allowing the situation to worsen, or we can choose to take bold, decisive action to address the climate crisis. The choice is ours, and the stakes could not be higher. We can choose a future of climate chaos and suffering, a future where our cities are choked with pollution, where extreme weather events are the norm, and where the most vulnerable among us bear the brunt of the impacts. This is the path of inaction, and it leads to a world of hardship and despair. Or we can choose a different path, a path of hope and action. A future where we embrace renewable energy, where communities come together to plant trees and restore ecosystems, and where we educate the next generation about the importance of sustainability. This is the path of action, and it leads to a world of resilience and opportunity. The choice is clear, and the time to act is now. Seeds of hope. A brighter future is possible. The situation is dire, but it is not hopeless. We have the knowledge, the technology, and the resources to address the climate crisis. A growing global movement is demanding change. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind power are becoming increasingly affordable and accessible. Sustainable agriculture practices offer a path to feed a growing population while reducing emissions. Your planet needs you. Act now. Fighting climate change is not just the responsibility of governments and corporations. It is a call to action for each and every one of us. We can all make a difference. Reduce your carbon footprint by walking, cycling, or using public transportation. Choose energy-efficient appliances, support businesses committed to sustainability, make your voice heard, demand action from your elected officials. A call to arms. Our future is in our hands. The clock is ticking. Every second that passes is a moment lost, a chance missed. We must act now, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. The urgency of the situation cannot be overstated. Climate change is not a distant threat. It is here, it is now, and it is affecting us all. From the melting icebergs in the Arctic to the rising sea levels threatening coastal cities, the evidence is all around us. We cannot afford to ignore it any longer. The time for action is now. We see it in the passionate faces of those rallying for change, in the innovative solutions being implemented, like solar panels and wind turbines. These are not just symbols, they are tangible steps towards a sustainable future. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to the larger goal. It is a collective effort, a global movement that requires each and every one of us to participate. We must harness this momentum and push forward with unwavering determination. We are the first generation to feel the full effects of climate change. The smog that chokes our cities, the wildfires that ravage our forests, these are the consequences of our actions. But we are also the generation with the knowledge and the tools to combat this crisis. We have the science, the technology, and the willpower to make a difference. It is our responsibility to use these resources wisely and effectively. We cannot let this opportunity slip through our fingers. We are the last generation that can do something about it. The young activists holding banners, the children looking at polluted rivers, they are counting on us. They are the future, and they deserve a world that is healthy and thriving. It is up to us to ensure that they inherit a planet that is not on the brink of collapse. We must take bold and decisive action to reduce our carbon footprint, to clean our rivers and oceans, and to protect our natural habitats. Let us rise to the challenge. Let us be the change we wish to see in the world. The volunteers cleaning beaches, the young people planting trees, they are leading by example. They show us that change is possible, that it starts with us. We must follow their lead and take responsibility for our actions. It is not enough to talk about change. We must live it, breathe it, and make it a reality. Together, we can create a world that is sustainable and just. Let us be the generation that turns the tide on climate change. Imagine a world where children can play in clean parks, where renewable energy powers our homes and cities. This is not a distant dream, it is within our reach. With every tree we plant, every piece of plastic we recycle, every renewable energy project we support, we are building that future. It is a future where humanity and nature coexist in harmony, where our actions today lay the foundation for a better tomorrow. Let us build a future where humanity and nature thrive in harmony. The bees pollinating flowers, the lush forests, these are the treasures we must protect. They are vital to our survival and well-being. By preserving our natural world, we ensure that future generations can enjoy its beauty and benefits. It is a delicate balance, but one that we can achieve through conscious effort and dedication. Let us commit to living in a way that respects and nurtures the environment. Let us leave behind a legacy of action, not apathy. The environmental activists speaking at rallies, the children planting trees, they are the torchbearers of this movement. They remind us that our actions today will echo through the ages. We have the power to shape the future, to leave a world that is better than the one we inherited. It is a daunting task, but one that we are more than capable of achieving. Let us rise to the occasion and make our mark on history. The future is in our hands. It is a future that we must build together with compassion, with courage, and with a steadfast commitment to doing what is right. The small plant growing in the soil, the human chain of solidarity, these are symbols of hope and unity. They remind us that we're all connected, that our actions have far-reaching consequences. Let us take this responsibility seriously and work together to create a world that is sustainable, equitable, and full of promise. The time to act is now. Our future is in our hands. Subscribe now and join us in awakening a brighter future.